Hello everybody, thank you very much for joining me today for another Twilight Zone video in my Twilight Zone review series where I rank every Twilight Zone episode of the original series from my least favorite to my favorite. Today I'm going to be talking about number 125 on the list, The Jeopardy Room, written by Rod Serling and directed by Richard Donner. This is a season 5 episode, and as always there will be episode spoilers. So the Jeopardy Room is an episode that's enjoyable overall. Unfortunately, the ending doesn't work for me. Others might find it to their satisfaction, but I just felt like it fell a little flat, and that hurts the episode in my opinion. So, the main plot of the Jeopardy Room is very interesting, actually. There's a man named Kachenko, and he's a defector, and he's trying to escape. But there's another man, an assassin, that is basically hired to do him in, and this assassin wants, I guess, to have this elaborate scheme to get rid of him by placing him in a booby-trapped room. So this is a great idea. It's something different for the Twilight Zone. Martin Landau is the lead in this episode, and he does a good job. The acting is solid. I do think the beginning is slightly long. You know, this assassin's obviously a James Bond villain type. But it's still an entertaining chat between Kachenko and the assassin. And there's some interesting dialogue, and it's overall effective. It's solid. Then the episode really gets good. So Kachenko, after being drugged, wakes up and finds out that he's trapped in this room, and it turns out there's a bomb there because the room is booby-trapped. We know because the assassin tells his assistant that it's on the phone, but Kachenko has no idea where it is, so he goes through the next part of the episode basically looking for this booby trap, and Richard Donner does a really good job directing here. There's a lot of tension in this scene, and it's really great and really enjoyable. The suspense keeps building until eventually Kachenko makes a run for it and escapes. Now, up till this point, I really enjoyed this episode. Unfortunately, this is where things kind of unravel for me. So, I have three main issues with the end of this episode. First of all, Kachenko does seem to get out of the room pretty easily. I mean, we're made to think that it would be really hard for this guy to leave, because he'll get shot or something else will happen. But it doesn't seem like it's really that hard for him to escape, at least in my opinion. The two bigger issues are, at this point, after Kachenko escapes, he basically calls the assassin and his assistant who are in the booby-trapped room. I think he's calling from, like, the airport. So how does he know they were in the room? Was he just lucky? Did he keep calling over and over until he got a hold of them? How did he even know they would go back to the room? Like, again, this seems more like a plot convenience than anything else. And then, worst of all, the assistant, who knows the plan because he's been told it, actually picks up the phone doing himself and the assassin. And why would he pick up the phone? Did he just forget that it was booby-trapped? Again, this could happen, but it feels like yet another plot convenience. I can accept, a plot convenience, but it felt like there were like 3 of them in this episode, and that's a little bit too much for me. So, the ending you kind of just got to go with. It was a little hard for me to swallow. Others may find it to their satisfaction. I just thought there were too many conveniences. The episode just feels wrapped up too neatly for me. But it is still an entertaining, decent, and different episode of The Twilight Zone. And like I said, the acting is solid. So that's why it comes in at 125 for me. As always, feel free to leave me a comment on the Jeopardy Room if you think I rated it too high or too low or maybe just right. Next up will be number 124. And as always, thanks for watching.